that you want to draw. All right, like I said, I'm going to kick things off with just a car sketch here. And first thing I'm going to do is just modify the canvas. So this is the crop tool in Photoshop. This allows me to just resize the canvas. I started with 11 by 17 at 300 DPI. 300 DPI. So that's what I'm working with here. And like I always say, when in doubt, rough it out, right? When in doubt, rough it out. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I don't even know what kind of car I'm going to draw, but I wanted to kind of have a futuristic look feel to it. So I'll probably do some covered wheels or something like that. All right. So first thing here, wrong tool. Just using a simple pencil tool here, but first thing, I'm gonna map out just a rough shape for what this vehicle might look like. This is kind of just a silhouetting method that you can use. So if you have a rough or general idea of what space or silhouette your vehicle might take up, you can start by sketching that out. And once you have a silhouette, then you can start to add the details to that silhouette. Okay. Sorry guys on Instagram if you're watching, you don't get the best crop, you don't get the best view, you don't get that direct output. So if you want to check it out, head on over to youtube.com/sketchaday.com or sketchaday.live. Happy Mother's Day once again. All right, so like I said, just a good way to kind of rough in some stuff. You know, maybe start by roughing in where my wheels might be. Like I said, we're gonna kind of keep this one future, keep it sci-fi, a little fresh today. Sci-fi Sunday. I've been 3D printing a lot. It's been really fun. Just kind of working on a new project, personal project. Super, super fun. So maybe this is even a hover car of some sort. I don't know. But we're gonna dream a little bit today on Sci-Fi Sunday. If this is your first time, hit up the subscribe option on the video if you're watching on the YouTube. Turn on those alerts. Much appreciated. Looks like Geese. He says, yeah, I'm live again, watching your old live streams, and then I got a notification that you're actually live at the moment. Yep. So once again, 3 times a week, Sundays, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings. Pardon me. Instagram got my sneeze. YouTube did not. So yeah, just playing around here. You know, maybe let's make it a hover car. Let's do that. So no wheels to really speak of here. I guess it depends on the type of sci-fi or future you're going for. You know, if it's more Blade Runner, it's gonna have a certain aesthetic to it, as opposed to, you know, hey, it's a dystopian zombie defense vehicle or something. I'm just gonna go with something maybe that's a cross between aggressive dystopian and just refined future. So some of these lines I'll revisit, come back, and see if we can make flow a little bit better. All right. And maybe there are wheels, you know, but it can float or something. Just a shout out in general to Joe McCarthy. I don't know if you guys follow him. He's a designer at Leapfrog, but you wouldn't think the stuff he does. Like, he does some crazy stuff on the Instagram. You should check him out. A lot of vehicle designs too that are just, they kind of push the boundaries between reality, because none of the stuff he does could ever be made. But there's certainly just a pure fun about his work that I just love. Like, it's pretty incredible, pretty awesome stuff. All right, so something like this, you know, I could scale it down. And I know there was a question on the last live stream just about, you know, how I work, generate form. So sometimes I'll just sketch something, and if I'm not feeling it, then I'll just start another one. See if I can get a different perspective going or something. Just start another one. You know, when you fall in love with a sketch, I feel like that's sometimes when you run into trouble because you're not willing to sacrifice that sketch and just move on and do something else. So we'll fill up the page here, maybe pick a final direction or something that we want to go with, and then see, I just pinched the zoom again. Maybe I should return this one and go get the Cintiq Pro. I'll think about it, because I am having a lot of fun here. Anyhow, yes, so falling in love with a sketch, totally dangerous. So you want to be very careful to just be free, just express yourself. You know, no one's looking. Yeah, I sketch in front of people, but if you're sketching on your own, just have fun. Enjoy life. Life's short, man. Enjoy life. Quit worrying about what other people think. That's what I say. A little bit of life advice for you guys. So once again, shout out to all the moms out there. Happy Mother's Day. Thanks for all you do and all you are. Much appreciated. All right, so now I'm done with that one. I can shrink it down, and now I've got another thumbnail on my page. Just like that. And we can revisit some of these as we go. I'm just gonna keep thumbnailing here. So Sketch Day Live, thank you for joining. What's up, Latrice, Nathaniel, hey. Matthew, Gabby, Jose, Tom, Geese, and Twan, what's up? Thanks for joining the YouTube. If you're on the Instagram, you're getting a very small view of this file, you know, kind of cropped. So if you want to get the full thing, join the YouTube, youtube.com/sketchaday.com. Special shout out to the Patreons. Latrice is one. Thank you, Matthew, as well, for your support. Patreons get the chance to influence the show ahead of time. We do a pre-show. We're going to do one on Wednesday, where it'll be the time for the Patreons just to kind of hang. Ask me questions. Last time I did a little bit of a portfolio review. I may kind of show you guys a little bit of what I've been up to. So you get a little insight into what I'm up to, projects. You can ask me about career stuff, all of that good stuff. So if you want to be a part of that, patreon.com/sketchaday is where you want to be. So sometimes when you're thinking outside of the box, it's good to, like in this case, just sketch freely. You know, you may have some thematic elements you're kind of working with, but also just doing these thumbnails, because I can take any one of these thumbnails, blow them up, which is what ultimately I'm going to do here, and then do a nicer sketch on top of it. All right, but the whole thumbnail process is really just about quickly capturing the idea and representing it, right? There's no wrong stroke here. It's all about just getting that idea out. We're doing just some potentially futuristic looking vehicles, thinking outside the box. I feel like I need to push myself a little bit more. So I'll keep going, doing a few of these. I like to say on the stream, the first sketch is the warm-up sketch for me. So thanks for hanging and being here. Twan is asking what type of sketch pad I'm using. I'm using a Cintiq 16. In fact, I'm going to load up Amazon as soon as the stream is over, and I'm going to buy the Cintiq Pro. That's what I'm going to do. So, yeah, this one's just a little, I can just tell, you know, the Cintiq Pro for me would be really fun to use. Actually, I shouldn't say I'm going to pull up Amazon because I bought this somewhere else. I just remembered. So it's a lot harder to return, but in any case, I'll figure it out. So I'm just doing some futuristic concept stuff. It is Sci-Fi Sunday. On Sundays, I like to do sci-fi, just imaginary stuff. Not that everything I do is not necessarily imaginary, but just more so. Just like to kind of dream a bit, see what we come up with. Like I said, all of these thumbnails I can do something with, right? The whole point is to just work quickly. I should warn you, I don't typically label a lot of layers, stuff like that. So I like to just kind of work fast. You know, particularly where I'm doing just a thumbnail. And even though it's a thumbnail, I am sketching big. Because pro tip, when you sketch big and then you scale it down, you're actually able to create the impression of a higher degree of fidelity. So it's actually a lot easier to sketch big than it is to sketch small. All right, so if you're sketching on paper, sketch on big paper. If you're sketching digital, sketch big digital. All right, you're just packing more information. Think of it that way, more information into your presentation. You can always scale it down, do whatever it is you like to do after the fact. I might do this car. It's pretty badass. It's like it's got these cutouts here, maybe some heavy shadowing. Just keeping it expressive, keeping it loose, keeping it fun and fast. That's what I like. I don't like to spend tons of time on sketches, if you guys haven't noticed. I like to just move quickly and get a bunch of ideas out. All right, so I'm kind of digging this, cutout hover car thing. Maybe it still does have some wheel thing. Maybe it has some indication. I don't know. I can figure it out. But I'm really liking this. It's got this cool angular 80s vibe. You could maybe even say a little bit of Cybertruck. I know that's a bad word for some designers, but I'm digging it, so we're gonna go with that. All right, so all of these sketches here, I can now transform, make them even smaller so that they are thumbnails accompanying our main sketch, just like this, right? We can compose that however we want, but the top portion here, I want to preserve for the final sketch. While we're doing this, if you're on the YouTube and you want to make a suggestion, let me know for Sci-Fi Sunday. I'm probably just going to do 2 sketches today just because I got to go see my mama, see how she's doing, see what's happening in her part of the world. Hopefully you're able to say hi to your mama, tell her you love her, all that good stuff. I told a story on my Instagram today, and I'll just share it with you guys. What's up, Bumblebee? I grew up in Jamaica, the island of Jamaica, and when it's time to go to high school, you have a choice. At least this is how it was when I grew up. You could take an exam, and based on the results of that exam, you were granted the ability to attend a certain school. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that and partly because of my parents, wanted to make sure that we went to the best school possible, right? Because it's not like the United States or other countries where, there's a lot of equal opportunity. At least there wasn't when I was, going through this process. So ended up taking this exam. I got into this school, and the school was about an hour from where we lived, and we lived in the country. You could say that we lived in the country, and country meaning just kind of in the outskirts. And so my mom, for all the children who we all ended up going to that school. But my mom would drive, I kid you not, Like, I didn't really think much of it as a child, but being a single parent, I'm like, holy shit, you did what? Anyhow, so she would drive an hour each way. I kid you not, an hour each way. She would drop us off at school in the morning, and then she would drive another hour to pick us up. Like, it was just crazy. Like, right now as a single dad, I'm trying to, like, you know, do my business thing and figure life out and all this stuff. And I'm like struggling to just find balance. And she, like, straight up, she would every day. That's what she did. So I just kind of got thinking today, and I was just really grateful for her and her sacrifice and what she did. So I know she's not watching. She doesn't usually watch my streams, but I do want to say I love you. Thank you for your sacrifice, and sincerely thank you to all the moms who sacrifice and just do those amazing things for their children. What's up, Luke? Luke's another Patreon. What's up? Lynette, any tips on drawing denim? If it has to do with something futuristic, I'm happy to do it today. We're doing Sci-Fi Sunday again. Bringing it back. I'm doing some kind of hover car of some sort here in Photoshop. Sorry, Instagrammers, you're not getting the best view. If you head over to YouTube, you'll get the direct output of the sketch. You can check it out. But as always, I will... I need to adjust my Wacom settings because, sorry, I'm like thinking of three things at the same time. It's a little too touchy, but I will upload the final sketch to YouTube. So if you guys are looking for that. One of the nice things about Wacom tablets, I will say, is the pressure sensitivity is pretty fantastic. Meaning I can be really gentle with my lines here. Let's see, flow. Why is the flow set so low? Something's off. Oh, my layer opacity is down. That's what it is. All right. So I just want to get these nicer lines in. So like I always say, I try to do light until you get it right, but also when in doubt, rough it out. And I didn't really know where this is going, so a lot of these initial thumbnail sketches, I could have blown up one of these, but I just wanted to kind of use the opportunity to do a new sketch here. Instagrammers are getting my head in the frame. All right. Sorry about that. There we go. So this is Sci-Fi Sunday. As promised, I am working on my Cintiq. Maybe this is just an updated Back to the Future style car or something. I don't know. Definitely has that vibe, just a nice flat hood. This is just a setting in Photoshop. It's the rotate command, so I can rotate the canvas to whatever works for me. This is one of the reasons I think the Cintiq Pro would be nice, because it does have multi-touch, but I also didn't have, at the time anyways, that much money I wanted to spend on that Cintiq, so... Which is funny, because I always say, buy it nice or buy it twice, and here we are. I'm like, man, this is nice, but... But I wish I had that multi-touch so I could just rotate the canvas, not have to worry about it. Thanks for joining Sketch-A-Day Live today. Alright, quick perspective check here. The back's feeling a little bit funny. I think I need to tweak some of this. There's a couple ways to do this. I'm going to show you one way, which is the warp tool. So I'm just going to make a quick selection here. And now if I hit transform, there's a little command at the top. If I click on that right there, now I can kind of warp this whole thing, push and pull to where I want it to be. Now, if I want to really extend that, I could. There's a lot of cool stuff I can do. When I'm done, hit enter, and there we go. If you ever want to check your sketch too, another way to do that is, let's see, edit, transform, or let's see, let me try and remember, layer, I know all the commands. There we go. Image, rotation, flip canvas, horizontal. It's a good gut check on your perspective, so now I can look at it from the other side and make sure I have what I want. Alright, so just a good way to do it. I'm gonna put my little legs up here, guys, on my tablet so I can see a little bit better, in case you're wondering what I'm doing. So if you're on the Instagram, let me know what you'd like to see next. I did ask the Discord. We had some good suggestions for things like sports themes, robots playing sports. That could be a thing. But like I said, I'm probably just going to do 2 sketches today. Alright, I think I'm gonna make this be a light that's in this groove, but it like wraps up to the top here, and then maybe coincides with some sort of part break on the front. Feels right. And it's a hover car, but it would be cool if there was just a little bit of wheel exposed or something. I think that would be rad. All right. Just hinting at a little bit of an interior here, nothing serious or super specific. If I wanted to show an interior, or if I was closer to a final sketch, then I could do that using a secondary or separate sketch for all of that stuff. People are asking, can I save this on my Insta Live? It's already saved on YouTube, dude. Head over to youtube.com/sketchaday.com. You'll catch the whole thing. All right. And yes, I want you to go there. That's where I hang out a lot. All right, so the front of this car, it's very blocky. It's very, very blocky. So I'm going to, let's see. Let's turn off my underlay here. Now we can kind of see the bigger sketch, and we can do some transform stuff to kind of help this. So similar to what I did before, we can play with the perspective, pull, push things, right? Make the nose bigger because of perspective. There's a lot of stuff you can do when you're working digitally. I'm actually working on an interesting article. The working title is The Uncanny Valley of Sketching. And that's just to say sketching nowadays it's really hard to tell, you know, what is skill-based execution, what's assisted, what's reality. Does it matter, right? Just all those questions I've been kind of marinating on, but that'll go live on sketchaday.com/blog when it's ready. So definitely keep an eye out for that if you're interested in blog stuff. That'll be coming soon. Once again, Sketchaday Live, thanks for joining. If you're on the YouTube, this will wrap up just a little bit into the color section here. So if you want to catch more, youtube.com/sketchaday.com is where you want to be. Either way, thanks for joining, being a part of this experiment, so to speak. So I'm just doing some sort of futuristic concept stuff today. Normally we do Sci-Fi Sunday, and on Sci-Fi Sunday, that's when I take the chance to just dream a bit, let loose, see what we can come up with together. A lot of times I'll take suggestions, all that good stuff. Alright, I'm just checking in on the YouTube chat here. What's up, Roshan? Is that a transparent tea kettle I see in the back seat? Hopefully that was to your satisfaction, man. I'm happy to mail that to you as well, so hit me up. Let me know. We're just doing Photoshop today, Roshan. And it's been a while. I will say the drawing engine in Photoshop has gotten much, much better than the last time I used it. Like, night and day difference. Absolutely. So I'll probably be doing a lot more Photoshop stuff. Maybe I won't even touch my iPad Pro, we'll see. We will see. Alright, so I think I'm going to do a rendering of this, and then I'm going to do another view of it as well. And that'll give me a chance to show some different stuff. Alright, so now I got that. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of housekeeping, rearranging here. Maybe take some of these sketches, place them, you know, in a more pleasing position. We can even scale or flip things. Oops, so like flip horizontal here. You know, maybe scale these down. Take this other sketch, place it, just to add something to the page. All right. So pro tip in Photoshop, if you want to fill the screen, just hit Control-0, and that's going to take you to 100%. I keep forgetting that you guys are watching, so my apologies if I'm always zooming and all that stuff. All right, so as far as organization goes, let's go ahead and move layer 9 and 10, which are kind of my thumbnail layers. In fact, I can just group that, call that thumbnail. And then layer 13 is my main sketch. I'm just gonna group that as well. I probably should just call the group main sketch. Main sketch stuff. All this stuff is junk. Warm up, so I'll just call that junk. Just like that. And the way I like to work is everything under the sketch layer is my color, okay? I can even back off the opacity of the sketch layer. And now, using layer 11, start to pick some base colors. So let's just do a red car, since red's fun. I'm gonna pick a mid-tone here, and we're gonna get a nice solid color in, okay? I'm gonna use this hard round brush. And using this brush, we can, if you hold shift, you can quickly just create an outline. You may have to modify some stuff, but I like to use shift. Just gets it done really quickly. Especially something like this that's maybe a bit more angular. All right, and now I can fill this whole area in just like that. All right, so now I've got a base color right there. And on top of this base color, I'm gonna make a new layer. And now I'm gonna pick this red, but let's drop down in value. All right, we'll just do a neutral scene. In fact, let me think. I'm gonna go ahead and do this layer as multiply, color burn, something like that, and actually use black. And a nice big soft airbrush. I haven't even customized my airbrushes yet. I have not adjusted my stylus pressure, so this is a little bit iffy. But the idea here is I want to, let's see, let's make a selection. I want to create just a nice core across the car, something like that, but I can adjust the opacity. Okay, so not a big deal. We can adjust the opacity, make sure we have what we need. Cool. And so now on top of this, I can start to paint my highlights, and I'm going to use this polygonal lasso tool to just quick select some areas that we can refine later. But these areas are essentially the highlights that are going to carry the sketch and help it feel more three-dimensional, okay? So here across the hood, like so. And a lot of times when I'm working quickly, I don't mind if there's a little bit of a polygonal appearance to things. Again, because that's something you can smooth out and fix up later. But just to preserve that highlight, I'm just gonna fill it, okay? So that's all filled. In fact, I do want it above my sketch layer. So this is one exception to that. I want it above the lines. And now I can lower the opacity of that section. On the side here now, where I do have things like, you know, maybe a horizon line of some sort, I can start to add some shapes in there. You can either paint these in, or you can select and fill these in. I just need some base here to work with. So that's what we're doing. Notice the shift along the body side as well, representative of that form transition that's happening. So all these things work together. Try to be observant when you're learning to draw. Like, literally just open your eyes, take in everything you see, and it becomes a lot easier because you'll start to realize, oh, that's a reflection, or this is a reflection, or whatever the case may be. It's a lot easier. All right, so let's go ahead and get the cab here. I'm just gonna Get a nice shape in. Now, another trick about the polygonal lasso tool is if you think about a curve, a curve is really just a series of really short straight lines. So you can move fairly quickly with this tool, and I like it more than other selection tools just because of the ability to, like I said, just move very quickly. If I click in rapid succession, I can make a decent curve, for example. And if you have a decent curve and you've saved yourself an hour, I'm all about it. If I need to clean this up, just hit Shift and I can add to this selection. Just like that. New layer. Everything I do, I try to keep on a new layer as much as possible. Okay, it's just gonna help with if I need to change this at some point. This is why I went with black, because I can actually change the hue, meaning the color of the car. If I want a pink car, or if I want to do green or something, those colors should be preserved. All right, now they are hard shapes, so we're gonna have to soften this up a little bit. But I did want to get those hard points in first. Let's see, and I think we're in a pretty good spot here. There's probably a couple other things I can do in terms of highlights. You know, maybe just a few light or edges catching light. So let's get those in. Just like that. We'll just add those to our white layer. So now you can kind of see, this is just Photoshop. Now you can kind of see how we're starting to build that form out. We'll soften these shapes up and all that good stuff in just a sec. The other thing I forgot to do, so we had this big black section in the middle here. I actually need one along the bottom, so I'm gonna make a new layer. And using this soft airbrush, don't worry, I'm gonna be making my own here. Just using some stock old brushes from back in the day. Let's make a selection, and I just want to paint on the bottom. Not quite to the edge, right? Not quite to the edge, just a little bit off. And if I back the opacity way down and switch this to something like multiply, then I now have a coarse shadow along the bottom of the car. All right, so these hard reflections here that I have, let's see, right there, I need to soften those up. I'm gonna use a layer mask because I'm not super confident about just erasing right now, okay? So the layer mask will allow me to go back, make changes, adjust, erase, all that good stuff. And I can kind of just feather things in. You can kind of see it happening as I just paint on the bottom here. Right, just like that. On the white, I can do the same thing. Just to back off some of these highlights a little bit. All right, just like that. And now, on top of all this, I'm gonna take a white airbrush. It's black. And we're just gonna build up some value here. On these wheel wells. Across the hood. Alright, something like that. Which model am I using? I don't know what you mean. That's a question on the Instagram. If you're asking about Cintiq, I'm using a Cintiq 16. Oh shoot, sorry, I've been ignoring the YouTube chat a little bit. This is the Wacom Cintiq 16, and I'm on a Mac, if it matters. I'm using a MacBook Pro 15 for what that's worth. We're just trying to move quickly and do a quick car rendering here, car illustration, whatever you want to call it. You know, some people have issues with what you say, how you say it. I'm certainly one of those people. This is Sketch Today Live. Thanks for joining, being a part of the stream. YouTube, Instagrammers, I'm gonna peel off here. So if you want to catch the rest of the stream, head on over to youtube.com/sketchtoday.com. Thanks for hanging out. I actually have a little mistake here, but I think what's happening is over the hood, this part is raised and then drops down. So I'll add some definition in the shading so you guys can see what that looks like in a little bit. Just planning and anticipating ahead here. So I know I'm going to need some headlights, so I'm just going to block those in for now. All right. All right, guys, on the Insta, thanks for hanging. Happy Sunday, all that good stuff. I'll be peeling off here. So if you want to catch more of this stuff, this type of stuff, hit up youtube.com/sketchtoday.com. That's where I hang out. You guys will be able to see all the videos and all that good stuff and catch everything. Take it easy. Woo! All right. Thanks, Roshan. You're very kind. Very, very kind. This has a lot of work to go, but I'm trying to think of the best way to do this, actually. Let's see, because I want to move quickly. Wow, we're almost an hour in already. Crazy. Okay, so I'm going to move super fast here. Yeah, I kind of wish I had taken a bit more time and just figured out my brush situation. I'm like using stock Photoshop brushes here, so that's what's happening, in case you're wondering. I'm trying to use stock brushes to make this not look so stock. All right, so on the red, I do want to intensify the red, kind of in the middle here, so new layer. And I'm gonna take my airbrush. Let's make a selection. And switch this layer to either overlay or color dodge. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling and how it's looking, really. I swear my Spotify system is possessed. My apologies. Give me just a second, guys. All right. Okay, we're back. Whew. There we go. All right. So I do want the red here. And we can play with color dodge. The cool thing about Photoshop is as you scroll through these options, you're able to kind of see what the effect is all at once, which is super fun. So I don't have to worry about, you know, what it's going to look like, because I can actually see what it's going to look like. All right. Super fun. All right, so let's finish this guy up. Got some highlights, got some shadows, coarse shadow, blocked in color. Yeah, we're in pretty good shape. So now I just need to add some line work. I'm so used to like touching and dragging that I was like dragging my layer order and feeling like a psycho, wondering why isn't this working? Anyhow, just in case you're wondering what I was just doing right now. Thanks again for joining, guys, and hanging out. I know you could be watching reruns of Tiger King, but you're here. It means a lot. Let's make sure, all right, that layer is clear. So now I'm just gonna work on as much as possible, trying to get some new line work in here. Things like our weather stripping on our doors, parting lines, all of that good stuff. Okay. I'll just keep that as a placeholder for now. So at this phase, I have my under sketch, but I also want to, because I consider myself more of a line artist than a painter. I'm not really a painter. Sometimes I pretend, but I'm more of an expressive line artist. That's what I like to tell myself anyways. And that being said, for me, it's really important to just make sure I have some good line work going. Separate things out, all of that good stuff. So it's kind of what I'm doing right here. Yeah, honestly, I forgot how nice it is to sketch on a Cintiq. Not gonna lie, I kind of wrote off Cintiqs after just not so good experiences with the, I guess what's now called the Mobile Studio Pro. But back then it was just a Cintiq 13, I believe. And there were just all these cables and it would get hot. If you were using the Mobile Studio Pro precursor, the battery life just was terrible. And on top of that, I couldn't really pick the operating system I wanted to use. Like I couldn't just use it as a Cintiq if I wanted to, so all those things kind of factored into me just being like, you know what, let me just use my iPad Pro, we'll call it good, not have to worry about it. But yeah, I do miss it, so I'll probably do some more of this stuff. I suspect my style is somewhat influenced by graphic art, comic book art, you know, where you're working with just lines a lot, and much of the drawing is just carried by those lines. Like how good is your line quality, perspective, all of that stuff. When I was a kid, I used to look at a lot of comic books. So honestly, I think that's where a lot of this comes from, the style of doing things. It's not to say I don't like to try and paint, I do. It's just not my jam. Cyborg animals, futuristic boats, all right. Because this one took so long, I'll try and make sure I get at least, let's see, how are we on time? I'll try and get 2 more in. All right. This is all the boring stuff where I'm just going over lines. You guys are like, yeah, you already did that. Maybe you are. Maybe you're enjoying it. If you're enjoying it, thank you. Appreciate you being here. It's also weird switching between programs because I'm doing things I would expect Procreate to do, but it doesn't. And then I'm sure when I switch back to Procreate, I'm going to be like, why aren't you doing this thing I'm used to doing now? You know? Things like pinch to zoom or pinch to rotate the canvas. Things like that. All right. I don't know why I made this car red, but we can always change it. Well, not exactly, because I did a layer that was red that shouldn't have been red. I should have made it white. But we'll see if I can tweak it. Thanks for joining. If it's your first time, this is Sketch Day Live. This is Sci-Fi Sunday, where I do all things sci-fi. It's kind of my thing that I do. And we're doing just some futuristic hover roadster of some sort. In a few minutes, you'll probably be like, oh, it looks like a insert brand here, but that's okay. We're just having fun. Or maybe not. Maybe this will be one of those few times where, unless Luke decides to chime in. But yeah, maybe this is one of those few times where it doesn't look like something. Alright, let me go ahead and erase this. I don't even know where this line came from. It was just there, but I was so far in the process, I didn't want to redo it. Roshan, if you could take one feature from each platform and bring to the other, what would they be? Photoshop and Procreate. As much as I don't use the quick line tools, occasionally it's nice to have that. So being able to draw a line and then have it snap, and they kind of try and figure out what you were trying to do and give you that result. That's kind of nice. Things like ellipses and so forth. It's a lot harder to do that if you're drawing in Photoshop. It's a lot harder to do that. Alright, so now I'm going to take this little airbrush. Like I said, the settings here are not what I would like, but we're going to just make do. The other thing, Roshan, that is nice about mobile platforms, because there's no native file system, well, I shouldn't say no native file system, but it certainly hasn't been a priority for Apple to figure out file management. A lot of these apps are super robust now in terms of cloud, file storage, management, all that. Photoshop has that now with cloud documents, but I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's great. Alright, right, so this phase, I'm really just trying to add some refinements to the lighting situation on the vehicle. So you may have heard me say lightest lights against darkest darks. This is one of those cases where just putting this light next to this dark and even enhancing the dark is going to help. It's going to help this feel and read a little bit more three-dimensional. If it's helpful for you guys to see how I'm working, this is my setup. I've got my left hand here on the keyboard doing all my shortcuts, and I've got my tablet at a slight angle just to avoid some glare, but that's pretty much how I'm working, okay? Just to let you know. You know, the Photoshop brush engine, dude, is actually pretty good. Like I said, it's gotten a lot better. I'm not just saying that because I work with Adobe from time to time, but it's gotten way better. So I would say take that for a spin, see what you think. Or are you still drawing in Photoshop? Not really. Because for me it's been a few years, honestly, since I've picked up Photoshop to draw. It's been a few years since I picked up Photoshop to draw. It's been a few years, so for me, this is all nice. I'm like, sweet. All right, so starting to pull some of the form out. This is why I don't do these on the stream very much, because they do take a lot of time. A lot of time. Normally I'm like 3 sketches deep at this point. Sorry about that. But yeah, this type of sketching just takes forever. Unless you're going for just like straight up quick rendering, it really does take forever. Yeah, I don't even have my like texture brushes I normally be using. So you're gonna be getting a pretty generic sketch here, but principles apply. It's all good. Once again, thanks for joining Sketch Day Live. If this is your first time, hit that subscribe button, turn on alerts. If you're catching the replay, thank you very much as well. Alright, so the seats on the inside, I gotta make sure I catch that tea kettle. But more importantly, I'm just trying to mimic or hint at something being on the inside here. Alright, so just a little bit of black there. The dashboard. Maybe just the rim and the weather stripping on the windshield area. And we're just painting with shapes using the polygonal lasso tool here. Okay, so just take what you perceive to be the outline of something, make a selection, then you can move pretty quickly in your rendering. Even the lines that we took the trouble to kind of sketch over here, let's see, where are you? There we are. You can knock those down in opacity, right? They don't have to be 100%. All right. So I'm going to pick a nice light color here, maybe something a little warmer like a yellow. Just hit this bottom section. And now we can play with the blending modes. Okay, I'm gonna go with screen and then drop the opacity of the layer and just play with that until I have something I like. And I do want to intensify what's happening in the middle here. So I'll just paint over. Just any spot that needs a little extra love in terms of contrast. Okay, and now I just want to make this pop a little bit more, so I'm going to focus on highlights and then things like these lights, you know, maybe drop the opacity down, and let's zoom in here. You know, I got to think about these light panels. You know, what's behind here? Is it something like this, where I'm getting a few elements at a certain distance? That could be it. And on this layer, let me just pick this blue, but I want to go more intense and just fill that, but also drop back the intensity a little bit. I know it sounds counterintuitive, and then take this brush and just clean up or add anything else that I need to in here. Right, so even just playing off the reddish color, that's enough to kind of function as some sort of shadow. Alright, so I've got a new layer now, and my brush is set to color dodge. Same color, just set to color dodge. And I can now paint in some of these LED things on the headlight. Just like that. And on the far side, I'm just going to hint at it, not really, you know, spend too much time on that one. I forgot I had filled in here with white, so let's erase a little bit. All right, something like that. Sketch Today Live, thanks for joining, guys. Always fun, always a pleasure. Feels surreal. Special thanks to the Patreons for their support monthly. If you haven't gotten your sticker yet, let me know. I should say welcome to our newest Patreon, Jordan Null. I don't know if Jordan's watching, but if you are, thank you, brother, for your support. Jordan's been a long time supporter, fan, so I appreciate it. Recently decided to double down and support on Patreon, so much love, appreciated, especially in these certainly uncertain times. So thank you. Alright, just painting in a couple reflections here, trying to balance between zooming out and zooming in. Zooming out allows me to kind of focus on the general effect. Zooming in gives me the chance to kind of have a little bit more precision with how I execute things. So it's something I try to do as well. Zoom out, zoom in, just playing around and seeing, yeah, I need to intensify the white there. Get a little bit of a highlight on the windshield. Yeah, this is why I don't do digital renderings of cars on the live stream. They take forever. So now you know, in case you've ever wondered, why wouldn't he do a digital car on the live? That is why. It takes freaking forever. All right. So just a couple more things here, and then I will switch to something else. So you guys let me know what you'd want to see. I know there are a couple suggestions in the chat, so thank you already. Alright, don't really like that, so let's see. Oh, good night, Roshan. Sorry you gotta run. Yeah, we'll add some glow and effects and all of that stuff in just a sec. Don't worry. This is all a process, you know? That's the thing. It's all a process. So I remember when I was starting out and I would look at a drawing and I would think, man, how did they do that? Well, it's all a process. Maybe some people can pump these out super fast. I know a few people. But I've just always been one to be a little bit slower, at least at the rendering portion of sketching, so. Alright, something like that. Let me throw a quick shadow in, just a drop shadow since this thing is floating. And then I'm just going to cheat the shadow and turn it into kind of a background element. Alright, so now I can play with the opacity. And then with the headlights, let's see if I can find that layer real quick. Boom. Alright, so with the headlights now, I'm going to paint in a bit more intense blue. Maybe more of a teal. Okay, I'm trying not to connect all the elements together. And again, if you draw big, when you zoom out, so I'm really zoomed in now, but if you draw big and you zoom out, it makes the details look that much better. Okay, so it's something you can try out. I know I'm gonna have some reflected light on these edges, so I'm just painting in with some blue here. Meaning if these headlights are on, you're gonna get reflections and just stuff happening in this nice shiny paint. So I'm just trying to paint a little bit of that into the highlights on these edges. Just like so. And now, as you can see, I have tons of layers and I have not been labeling those layers. I'm not that careful. But now I can take a nice big soft brush. Man, it's been forever. Big soft brush and just in this area kind of hit a couple times, right? So that's our initial light. And now I'm gonna create a dot, all right? So I'm gonna take my mouse here and just hit a dot. Now this dot I'm gonna transform and I can use this dot like so. Stretch it out, whatever. And now play with the blending mode. Whatever you feel is working for the scene in terms of lighting effect, just go for it. You know, play with it, see what works. Like that one's kind of cool. It's doing some weird purple stuff that I kind of like. So I can use that. Think about your environment, your rim light. Rim light meaning light on the perimeter of the object. What's that going to look like? Is it white? All right. So don't be afraid of contrast, but also know when to stop. Sometimes that can be hard. Even for me, I will admit. So know when to stop, call it good. I don't know what that is, but I like it, so I'm gonna put it there. All right, so there's our long demo. Way too long, way too long, but just Photoshop coloring of a car.